Antonia Colibasanu is a senior analyst at Geopolitical Futures and joins us from Bucharest in Romania. Thanks for joining us on this news hour. Antonia, are you surprised there's so much division among EU members about trying to ensure that energy is going to still be able to come from Moscow to Europe, but also trying to send the message to Russia that what they're doing in Ukraine is not supported by the EU?
Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. First of all, well, I'm not surprised because obviously the EU member states are different in their needs. They are different in what their strategies are with regards to energy security. If they managed to come together and to discuss the problem of the coming winter, considering the energy crisis that we are all facing in Europe, that is a huge step forward because they actually agreed that they need to take some quick measures to fix the effects of the high energy prices. And also they are confirming that Russia could cut gas supplies to Europe and therefore make things even worse than they are currently. So in a sense, yes, I'm not surprised. There are different European states, but the fact that they've come together and discuss the urgency of measures having to be taken to address the needs of their population is actually a good step forward.
Well, one of those measures was actually proposed by Ursula von der Leyen earlier this week, and it's the capping the price of Russian energy. Do you think this is the right move?
Well, basically, this is a move that will kind of make sure that we still have Russian gas coming in. Because we want Russian gas to come in. Let's not forget that states like Germany, states like Austria, for instance, are very much dependent on Russian gas to come in for their production, for their industrial production, but also for keeping the households warm. So obviously, those states that are more in need of gas, they do need some measure to make sure that the Russian gas is coming in. Now, the problem is that we don't necessarily know that Russia is going to be on board with all this. And we cannot say for sure that Russia is not going to decide to cut down gas supplies to Europe, no matter what, because it wants to basically show Europe and show the West that it can do that to convince Europe and the West to drop sanctions, as it said, when it cut down supplies through Nord Stream 1. So obviously, it may be a good measure if at the same time Russia would stay as it is now and not decide to cut down supplies to Europe.
Yeah, that's still a power card that Russia has, and there's still so much uncertainty of what Putin will actually decide to do, depending on the measures that the EU take. But people in Europe themselves must surely also be looking at energy alternatives like solar energy, because this crisis doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon. Many are definitely expecting it to continue for the next 6 months, even into next year.
Right. The problem with solar is that solar is not the same all over Europe, as we all know. I mean, you're talking about solar and wind, but some states are more windy than others. Some states are more solar than others, if you want. So in other words, even if we are in a temperate climate zone, we cannot really compare Turkey, we cannot really compare Greece if we are talking about the EU southern tier, for instance, or Italy with Germany and the northern tier, right? So obviously everyone is trying to look at alternative sources, but my bet is that after this winter or even during this winter, the population is going to look at what is cheap and not necessarily what works as a green alternative for energy. Even if we all would like to, to go that way, to basically save for green energy and everything else, ultimately you want to stay warm, right? So, and cheapness is better than more expensive, considering the inflation rates and everything else that is driven by the energy price.
Yeah, short-term solutions instead of looking at what's going to be good for the climate and long-term. Antonia Colibasanu, live to us there from Bucharest. Thank you.